Is positivity really a thing? Can it make me feel happy? I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins, a positivity psychologist, and the quick answer is yes, it is really a thing, and it can make you feel happy. But we have to get past the trite, fluffy, just think positive approaches that you hear from motivational speakers. Let's get down to the psychology behind it. I love my job as a psychologist. I get to illuminate the obvious, which is really cool because I get paid to tell people things they already know. But there's a lot of obvious things that are completely unnoticed until they're called to your attention. Like your clothing. Can you feel it? Yeah, now that I mention it, you're very aware of it. It's obvious. But it was unnoticed until the time that I called it to your attention. Or the fact that we're speaking English here on this video exchange today. It's obvious, but unnoticed until it's mentioned. And this is what I'm talking about, because many of the processes in our own mind are obvious once they're called to your attention, but completely unnoticed up until that point. Like this one. It's called metacognition. Now that's a made-up word. We make up words in psychology because it makes us feel smart. And metacognition is one of those. If you break it down, cognition means thinking. We'll put that right here at this level. Metacognition is a higher level. It's thinking about thinking. Notice that you can do this. It's obvious that you can think about your thinking. But until we do that, it's inaccessible to us. And I say this to my clients all the time. Look, either you run your thoughts or your thoughts run you. You can't turn them off. There are processes that are going on in our mind related to our thinking that are completely obvious once I call them to your attention, but unnoticed up until that point. So turn on the metacognition and join me for a few moments as we talk about these processes that you're going to see immediately. Here's the first one. Evaluation, meaning judgment. I want you to notice that you are constantly judging. This isn't a bad thing. It's just a human thing. We constantly do it. It's the way our brain is designed. And by evaluation or judgment, what we're doing is comparing our situation to some standard. The word evaluation itself implies comparison with a standard. Those of you who are educators, you know this, right? We have some standard and we judge compared to the standard. It's how it's done. Am I a tall man? Well, you might not know if you don't have something to compare me to. I've got a picture of myself with Mark Eaton. Mark used to play center for the Utah Jazz. He's 7'6". Okay, and next to him, I am a shrimp. I'm 6'2", which compared to most people is pretty tall. But the question, am I a tall man, depends on, well, the answer to the question depends on who or what you compare me to. And even 6'2" is a standard. You compare me to that and you kind of know how tall I am. So notice that you're doing this. You constantly judge or evaluate your own life, yourself, your capabilities, your spouse, your partner, your kids, your business associates, the people at the office, the people in the neighborhood, the people at the church or at the synagogue. You're constantly judging everyone. You're judging me. Right now, it's cool, I'm judging you. We can't turn it off. Just notice that it's happening. Now, what standard we choose determines how we feel about the thing that we're judging. Let me give you an example as I think of one. I remember a time when the kids were in high school and my son came home and said, "Mom, I totally bombed that test today." Meaning he got an A-. He totally bombed it? Compared to what? Compared to getting an A, he bombed it. But compared to most of the kids in the class, he pretty much rocked it. Do you see? How we judge something depends on what standard we use to compare it to. Now notice this. You know the phrase that we hear sometimes, it is what it is, which can be a little annoying depending on who's saying it. But just notice that all it means is the way things are. It's who you are, it's what you have, it's who you're with, it's the way things are without changing anything. It is what it is. Is it good or is it bad? Well, I don't know. I'll check. Now notice when our mind checks on it, you have to have some kind of a standard. How are you doing financially? Now that's a trick question. A trick question because most of you who are viewing this video right now, including you, are probably in a top percentage of the world's wealthy. Well, wait a minute, how could that be true? Well, when you take the entire population of the earth, there are so many thousands, maybe millions of people who don't even have a screen on which to view this video, but you do. So notice that. Now here's the truth. Wherever you are in your circumstances, in your relationship, in your finances, whatever it is, it could always be better. Right? Think about where you are. Can you imagine anything better than this? Why, yes, you can. And you often do, don't you? Because if you judge how you're doing compared to something better, how do you feel about how you're doing? This is not complicated. It's pretty simple. When we compare what we've got with something better, we feel worse about what we've got. Well, what about the other direction? When you notice that whatever you've got could be worse, you feel kind of glad that it's not worse. When we compare what we've got to something worse, we feel better about what we've got. You can't turn this off. You have to judge your what it is, whatever it is. Now, this is getting down to the actual model of positivity. I spent about 3 years of my professional life condensing this into a model. It looks like this, and it's going to make sense to you as we have this conversation. You don't have to draw this yourself. I'll just give you a copy of it. Go to the URL on your screen right now, drpauljenkins.com/the model, all one word. And I'll send this to you in a PDF format so that you can have it and you can refer to it. This model gets far beyond the trite, fluffy, just think positive that we hear from those motivational speakers. This is what our brain is doing. And notice positivity is not about pretending that everything's okay or denying the pain or difficulty of a circumstance. It's simply acknowledging that whatever it is right here between better and worse, always. And that means our circumstances are neutral until we judge them. And our judgment is based on some comparison. You don't always get to pick what it is. Sometimes that's just handed to you. What do you get to pick? What you compare it to determine what you've got. When you judge or evaluate what you've got compared to something better, you feel worse. When you judge or evaluate what you've got compared to something worse, you feel better about what you've got. Are we clear on that? That's evaluation. Now, before I share the next process with you, I want you to take just a moment to click that subscribe button. If you're still here and haven't clicked it yet, why not? Take some intentional action right now for your own mental hygiene and click that button. Hit the subscribe bell too. That way you'll know when new content comes out for you. Now let's get to that other process. When you get your copy of the model, you'll see that there's a valuation here on the bottom part and there's creation on the top. Let's talk about that because you can't turn this one off either, any more than you can turn off your judgment or evaluation, or gravity for that matter. It's always on. So notice that you are constantly creating something. Now, to tune into your creative power, what if I were to give you an assignment to just go out there, take a half hour, time it on your watch, go out there and somehow make your life worse? Ready? Go. No, please don't. You can see that that would be ridiculous, right? And would you ever do that? On purpose, I mean? We do it accidentally all the time. But notice how quickly your brilliant mind came up with half a dozen ways to pull that off. And it wouldn't even take a half hour, would it? Notice that. Look, if your brain can come up with ways to make your life worse, what else might your brain be able to come up with? Remember, what it is right here in the middle. It could always be better. It could always be worse. That's what the model describes. Now, when we go to creation mode, we're going to use that same imagination that we use to come up with our standards of comparison for evaluation. We're going to use that same imagination to project or predict or expect or anticipate what's coming. And you don't know. Tune into that for just a minute. How you doing next week? You don't know. Now, you've got something to do with it. Please don't forget that. But you don't know. So all you can do is imagine what is to be. Now, when we imagine that what's coming, and that doesn't exist yet, we haven't created it yet, okay? But when we imagine that what's coming is worse than what we've already got, how do we feel? That, my friends, is anxiety. There's 30 years of clinical experience in a nutshell. When we imagine or predict or expect that what's coming for us is worse than what we've already got, we feel anxiety, nervous, upset, kind of a foreboding of ominous things to come, right? We don't know what's coming. We're imagining that. And that's what creates our feelings. Now look at the other direction. What happens when we imagine or predict or expect that what's coming is even better than what we've already got? How do we feel? That is hope. Look, it is what it is. It could always be better. It could always be worse. And what's coming doesn't exist yet. We haven't created it yet. So we're going to use our amazing mind to choose a position. Let me comment about that a little more, because position is synonymous with the word attitude. This comes from the aviation industry. Pilots know this. Your attitude is not how you feel. Your attitude is your position. In aviation, it's relative to the ground or to the horizon. And the position of that plane doesn't determine where it is. It determines where it's going next. Similarly, our attitude will determine that for us. You don't know what's coming, but notice that you have taken a position about that. Oh, things are just going to be so hard. Really? How do you know that? What if they're easy? Well, pick a position. Pick one that serves you well. This is where we have choice. We don't always get to choose what it is, but we do get to choose how we steer these two processes. The ones that I shared with you on the model, evaluation and creation. That's what positivity actually is. Enough with the trite, fluffy stuff. This is solid psychological science that helps you to understand those processes that are going on in your mind all the time. If this is making sense to you, take a look at that next video, how you can reprogram your mind to stay strong and positive. We've got you on this.